Depression is a real thing. Too many people have turned to drugs or even worse to be able to get around it. The answer to get through it really is getting exercise and physically getting fit. My name's Nick Tabor. I'm a personal trainer. I help people through this stuff because I've lived through it. I don't just talk about it. Man, so I grew up in this generation of just get over it. Don't worry, you'll be okay. Just buck up. Everything is just in your own head. Just get over it. Like it was some sort of, like a code I could take off or something. You want to go ahead and get out of bed. You want to go ahead and get yourself moving. You want to do different things in your life. Let me tell you, there is a way. It's physical fitness. To be able to work your way out, but you can't just go ahead. Okay, I'll go ahead, get to the gym. I'll go to the gym and do things. I know that's not real. I'm not saying, just simply by going to the gym and being in that atmosphere, you'll magically be better. Trust me, folks, there's no magic to this. It's seriously hard work, but it can be done. It can very, very well be done, but we've got to just take it moment by moment. I had depression. I have depression, rather. I grew up with a host of issues. I had cerebral palsy. I was bullied, mercilessly bullied, pretty much all through school. I had a horrible time with it. I considered suicide multiple times. I felt worthless, and I didn't really find purpose in my life until I was in my 30s. I didn't find happiness until I was later, but what actually happened was I began to find strength in myself. I have limitations, which is why I could show this the way it is. Like I have right back here, there's this controller and all these bloody wires. Like this is an Xbox controller that's been modified so I can play with my wife with some games. Usually we do a lot of PC lately, so we don't really do too much, but that's okay. It's okay. But this is one of the things I could say, look, it's okay. It's fine. But what got me to it was being able to put myself physically in a position where I felt a lot better about myself, and therefore mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I felt a lot better as well. So let's talk about it. What can we do? Like, how do we get here? I'm gonna tell you a story. Like, I was massively depressed when I was in my teen years, and when I got into college, I started to eat a lot, and I was emotionally eating. I ate cheeseburgers and fries all the time, and I realized now it was because that was the one thing that really made me feel good. When I ate a burger, it was because, I was at a clam boil or because I was at a barbecue. I was with my family, and I was still dealing with the fact that my grandfather died. And I felt he was the only person on earth that understood me for a long, long time. So I ate it. I gained a lot of weight. I was 305 pounds. I was massive. I was a big dude, but I didn't know it. I was like, oh, I'm fine. I thought I walked around looking like I am today. I'm like, hey, how we doing? Hey, we look good. I didn't look good, folks. I didn't look good at all. Ooh, I looked terrible. But then I started to realize what I was doing, and then the whole weight of the world just crashed on me, and I felt awful. I was at this point where I had a massive health scare. I started getting tumors. I started gaining a lot. I was a lot of weight. I started to lose weight, and the tumors started to show. I had cancer scares, and my mom was a nurse at the time at my doctor's office, and she told me, hey, I don't want to scare you, but the rate you're at right now, your wife is going to have to plan your funeral by the time you're 35. That was a huge wake-up call for me of like, oh my God, I've got to get better. I've got to get better. I've got to do something different with my life. Like my grandparents, when my grandfather died, he died a very, very bad death, and my grandmother was super distraught for years. And, well after he died, of just like, oh, I wish I could have done better. I wish I could have done that. I couldn't do that to my wife. That's my morals. I couldn't do that. So, like, I gotta get to a gym. I gotta do something. And I worked out. And what happens is, like, when you do any type of workout, the brain releases these good feeling neurons, and your brain releases these good chemicals that they release at exactly the same time when you eat, like, you eat a good sugary snack, or the same time when you eat really good, the same type of food when you eat really good food. Hope that makes sense. So, like, it's the same physical reaction. I'm like, whoa. And even though first time I went, I sucked at it. I walked on the treadmill for 15 minutes, went back into my car and slept for 3 hours out of pure exhaustion. And then I drove home. And then the next day I went 15 minutes, slept 2 hours. I'm like, I'm getting better. And I just kept going and going and going from there. As I started to physically look better, I started to realize, okay, all that stuff that I was doing was petty, because when you are, and this is one of the bigger moments, when you are in the gym and when you're working out, it is just you, the machines, your music, and your breath. It becomes a state of meditation, and again, it fires those neurons off to be able to have those pleasure centers start to activate. Same thing with eating the food, and then everything starts changing, and mentally, it starts to click. And it takes some time. It's not an overnight thing, but if you're willing to put the process in, and you're working the process, the better you're gonna do. So, 3 steps here to be able to go ahead, get out of it. We know it's not going to be easy, right? So if you have depression, anxiety, you're stuck in bed, what have you got to do? Number 1, you've got to break down everything into actionable steps. I've got to go ahead, I've got to get to the gym, I've got to do this. Oh my God, I got to lose weight, because people get depressed not because you are having a really, really bad day necessarily. It's because you have this task that you may never, ever, ever reach, or at least that's what you feel like you will never reach. So what you do is you go ahead and you'll never get to it, so it's like, oh, it's hopeless. But people don't talk about how we got to that point. So you've got to start somewhere. So you say, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself to get out of bed. I'm not going to hit the snooze alarm. I'm going to do that. Great, you started. Then there's momentum, and you keep moving from there. So there's your start. You break it into actionable steps. Say, you know what? I am going to go ahead. I'm going to start working out. Awesome. Great. Number 1, get clothes. Number 2, I'm going to go ahead, get up early every day. Number 3, I'm going to get to bed earlier. Make sure my phone is not nearby. And, so on and so on. So you break it down and you walk through these little tiny steps. That plays a part in the big step you want to do in your life towards a greater good. 2, I say this a lot, and I am going to do a whole video on this. Build your tribe. Okay. Building your tribe is absolutely one of the most important things you can do in core in your life. Nobody does everything on their own, and one of the key components of depression, at least from my experience, is the fact that you feel you're alone all the time, that no one is there to support you. What you need to do is you need to build your tribe and tell people what you intend to do. You get 3 to 5 people who are close to you in your life. Let them know what you want to do, because if they're that close to you, then they're going to be curious how you're doing, and they're going to push you, and they're going to push you more, and then because eventually they're going to ask, how's that thing going? You're getting better, how are you doing with it? yeah, I'm okay, I guess. Yes? Come on, man. And they're going to give you that love and they're going to keep pushing you forward. So you take that 3 to 5 people, or, up to 10. 3 to 5 is usually a really good one because those are people you usually see the most. And then you let them know, I'm doing this every week, or I'm doing that, or I want to do this. Because if you start telling them, then you're going to be good. And you build that tribe because we all need that core support. Number 3. What we got to do is we've got to get through the hard things. It is going to be awful at first. You get there, you get through depression, because cutting through depression means that you are eventually going to change. You're not going to be the same you. Matter of fact, there is a depression because you don't necessarily like who you are. So what you want to do is you want to go ahead, take this depressed mood, turn it around and say, I'm going to be better. It's not easy to climb. That's why my one word is climb. You have to be able to challenge yourself, challenge others, and push harder, but you also got to celebrate. As you go through the hard things, as you go through that step by step by step that we talked about in step 1, you got to be able to take in the fact that it is hard. You're going to do harder things as you go along, but also celebrate. So do the hard things, actually, step 3, do the hard things and celebrate. Okay. So I have more videos on this topic, and we talk about fitness and everything related to it here on Nick Tabor Fitness. Every Tuesday and Thursday are posted. I also go on IG Live, same thing, Nick Tabor Fitness. Take a look at it. I hope to like it. If you liked this, hit that like down that way. Go ahead and leave a comment too. Just let me know how this is going, because I'm still building up this YouTube channel and I want to know more. As always, we say, climb. Have an amazing day.